Hive, que viene a contarnos sobre el mercado británico con la experiencia desde la organización de las ferias Pure, Scoop y Moda UK.
Fashion shows for Hive. We've got shows internationally as well as in the UK, but I specifically look after the retail and fashion at it. Just to give you a brief overview of what we're going to be covering, so the fashion market overall, the UK market, forecast that we can see, Brexit expert that we're working with, thank you, as well as our trade shows. Giving you just a bit of insight. The UK market, despite being in lockdown for the past 9-10 months, we have still a very strong retail market. It's worth 441 billion in the UK, and that's up from up in 2023, and it results in 5% of our GDP. It's the largest employer in the UK outside of the civil service and the NHS in the UK. So it plays a huge factor in our industry. It employs around 3 million people, and we have over 317,000 outlets in the UK. So that's small independents as well as larger retailers. Has gone down obviously since the pandemic because a couple of our main retail stores have unfortunately closed, but fortunately some of our larger department stores have actually bought them out. So it's kind of a yin and yang experience in the UK. Over 20% of our sales are made online. We're the third largest in the world where we do a lot of our buying online. And that's increased since the pandemic as well. Very quickly touching on that, despite everything that's going on in the UK, despite obviously having to work around Brexit, our economy in terms of our retail market has gone up by 11% since 2019. So that's pre-pandemic figures. We're tracking a lot more reform with it, and 4.7% growth in the UK retail sales in 2022. Yes, the cost of living is unfortunately something we're all having to live with, whether it's in the UK, whether you're in Spain. So the cost of the products have gone up, but we can see in the UK we're more likely to spend on quality rather than quantity. So rather than buying 5-6 bags as we used to, we buy that 1 or 2 bag and it's more quality, so it lasts a little bit longer. Moving on to UK fashion and footwear. So 2022, we can't compete with 2021, but the start of 2022 was amazing because obviously we had Omicron had lifted in the UK, so we had a spike in sales. And that's continuing despite the cost of inflation in the UK. We've had, from categories during lockdown in the UK, the gardening and the electronic sales went up substantially, so that's dropped in the past 2 years, and fashion and clothing are actually doing a research. So footwear sales have gone up by 7.2% year on year, and we're set to go to 10.1 billion for forecasting in 2023. Especially as a consumer myself, we don't tend to, but we used to just buy loads, like I've said, loads of quantity before, whereas now we buy quality. So footwear as an example in the UK, in Spain you go to small independent shops to buy your footwear. In the UK we don't work like that. We only have a small amount of footwear stores in the UK. We're more likely to go to a fashion, a concept or a department store. And footwear, so for my son or for myself, we go into stores to touch and feel, to put the shoes on. Same with fashion. We do buy a lot in the UK just because of timing, but unfortunately it doesn't dress very well and it's not sustainable. So our footfall actually, confidence has gone up over the start of the year. So obviously in December it's always super high footfall because we have our sales and it's Christmas time. January again is one of our best, but for February to be 5% up year on year is amazing because that's not sale periods for us. From the spend in the UK, on average we spend 890 million a week just on footwear and clothing. That's a huge amount of people spending in the UK. Again, just to give you a brief overview, this is the start of in footwear and clothing, it's the main buying home in the UK, but I would say 5% increase year on year in clothing and 7.6% in footwear is surpassing what we were expecting. A lot of the UK consumers tend to start off a little bit slower. So this year we're starting it as a year of two halves. We start slightly slower at the start because it's sale period. Obviously everything's opened up, we're spending a bit more on footwear, and the latter part of the year we are spending a lot more. We're set, hopefully, to avoid recession in the UK. So at the moment our inflation rate is 10.1% and our economy is looking to go back down to 2.9% for inflation rates. Also, I've already touched on the consumer confidence, but it shows in the full price strategy. So someone like Next, who is one of our largest retailers and have just been buying out a lot of the brands that have unfortunately gone bust, they're doing full price strategy because they know people are going to buy. They know that consumers wait for discounts, but the longer they wait, the less money they spend. So now they're concentrating on full price strategy. So they've bought someone like Joules, who's a huge company in the UK, and they continue to do that. But they're bringing on not just high quality brands, you know, like Tommy Hilfiger, those luxury brands. They're also looking to expand in their market. Similar to Anthropologie, they're also looking to bring on different brands, and we're speaking to a couple of the footwear ones that from Spain that they're working with, just because they need that differentiation. Our UK consumers aren't just looking for, you know, Nike and New Balance. They want that differentiation, and that's why we bring them to our shows, and that consumer confidence sees in our trade shows as well. Brexit. Luckily, we're working alongside Leslie Batchelor. She's our expert in Brexit in trade. So we've set up a how-to guide with her. She's also sent us her email address, and I've got her number that we can send out post the presentation. You are able to ask her questions. She's able to send you post-show reports on how to do things. If it does get a bit more intricate, there is a charge. She does help, but she's helped a lot of our French brands. She's helped a lot of our Romanian brands so far who are exhibiting at Pure London. So the benefit of exhibiting and working with someone like Kai, we get to hire experts like Leslie. We are working to help brands come over to the UK. I know Brexit is one of those barriers, but we are breaking those barriers now since 2018. Going on to our retail market, Hive is in the centre of the retail market because we own all of the larger retail shows, so fashion as well as retail. We bring retailers, associations, as well as importers into the show. To give you the brief background of all of the brands that we have, so Pure London is our London base, Scoop as well as Moda, Best Part, Spring and Autumn Fair. To give you some insight into some of the buyers and retailers that come to our show, there's loads that will just stick out for you, so you'll know Next and Harrods and Selfridges, but one that you might know is someone like Blue Diamond. They're the third, if I'm not mistaken, the third largest garden centre in the UK. So garden centres in the UK are destination points where you buy gifts, products, not just plants and home products. So we will go there with my family, and my son will be playing while I can buy him books, we can buy him shoes, and it's very established brands that will be also in there. So that's the real crossover of buyer that you'll find at some of our retail events. So Moda. That's one of our largest trade shows in the UK as part of Spring and Autumn Fair. Moda is the number one destination in Birmingham. So unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, UK is split into the north and the south. So we have two major shows in both areas. A lot of our customers like to travel, but for some reason we do have a split. So a lot of the northern customers love to go to Birmingham. It's been running for over 70 years, well 75 actually now. And our Autumn Fair has been running for over 35 years. That's a huge amount of heritage that our buyers know to go there to find a mixture of products. The main advantage of exhibiting with us is not just because we're the largest, but also we have that crossover element that I've mentioned before. So we have not just fashion shops and footwear shops coming to our retail events, we also have concept stores, we also have gift shops and the garden centre. So you're going going to get a real difference of the type of retailers at the event. We do run 4 times, 4 days, and across February and September. And the biggest thing that I would say that differentiates us from the other shows is we have something called Connector. So that's our meetings platform. We're launching it at Autumn Fair. We already use it at one of our US shows, which works very, very well. And it's a matchmaking, it used to be a matchmaking program, but now it's a meetings platform online. So you're able to set up meetings with key buyers before the show on your stand. So you don't have to leave your stand, you're there with your products. And it's a 15-minute meeting. If it needs to go on longer, you can do your connections. But it's launching at Autumn Fair and it will then be at Spring Fair. Pure London. Again, north and south divide, so the southern side also needs a show, especially as it's the fashion capital. So Pure London is our largest fashion event in the UK. Been running for over 25 years. We don't have the meetings programme, but we do have the VIP and hosted buyers programme. So this initiates us to bring over international as well as UK key buyers to the show. Someone like El Corte Inglés is one that we've actually hosted at our event just last season and hoping to continue that for next season. We do have trend focused catwalks. We do work with Promo Still, which is one of the largest, if not the largest, trend agency in France that we work quite closely with. And we do also have a number of awards under our belt, which is always helpful. But some of the brands that you can see there are long-standing. A lot of the agents also exhibit with us with a number of brands, so it's an opportunity to not just meet buyers, so gift, lifestyle shops and department stores and online retailers, but an opportunity to also meet agents. Scoop. It's our more premium niche show. It's located in the Saatchi Gallery. This season we will be co-located with Pure in Kensington Olympia. It works perfectly that way. A lot of our buyers do actually have crossover, and so do some of our brands. So they're able to just go from one show to another, creating that buzz in London for across 3 days. It's carefully created by Karen Bradley, and normally around 250 designers that she carefully curates, alongside Rosanna, for Spanish and Portuguese brands. And the sectors are very similar to Pure. It's very much accessories, women's wear, jewellery. There is a host of a small amount of home and beauty products because they do get that concept store crossover as well. Again, there's brands that we see. A lot of them will cross over, so they normally do one show or the other. It just depends on the type of retailer that you're looking for. Any questions? Sorry if I went a bit too fast there.
Si tenéis alguna pregunta o queréis que traduzcamos algo, alguna cosita. Gracias. Thank you. Yeah, please.
Like some Spanish companies that exhibit at your show, sometimes they know it's the British market is quite hard, no? But especially hard if they don't have an agent.
Yeah.
Yes. So how do you recommend to exhibit, not exhibit in any of your shows, or if any difference among them, to exhibit without an agent or with an agent, or?
That's the question we get asked all the time. Sometimes exhibiting without an agent works for some brands, and they're able to find an agent there, or they've already got some retailers that they're working quite closely with. We always say try and find an agent if you can. There is an agent network that they're creating in the Spanish embassy in the UK, so that's a networking event that they're creating. It's good to try and find one before, but we have brands that have exhibited without an agent previously and it's worked quite well. So someone like Alpe's done it before, someone like Gallo has done it, and yes. So you are able to build that environment, but having an agent just gives you that upper hand because they are in touch with those smaller boutiques and they're trusted by those buyers. So someone like XTI has Carmela, and they have an amazing agent that knows smaller retailers, and she's able to tailor them and bring them into the stand rather than having the owner may be on the stand. So it's a rock and a hard place, but I would say an agent is always beneficial.
Any difference among all these shows? I mean, is it easier to go to Moda or without an agent? I mean, or because the
No, I
more or
don't.
less the same?
I think it's more or less the same. It also depends on the product. So if you're a women's wear, jewellery, or if you're a so we've had handbag brands at Moda from Spain exhibiting without an agent, and they've done very well and picked up an agent from there. But it doesn't. I don't think it matters on the show. If I'm being a scoop usually works better if you do have an agent, just because it is more agent orientated. But I can't give you exact example. It just depends on your product and if you're. I hope that's answered your question.
Yes.
Right.
As we are always talking about agents,
Yeah.
do you think it's better to have an agent or a distributor in the UK?
We do get asked this question. We always just say agent. Although they're few and far between and they're fantastic, we always suggest an agent. Just because you get the rights of looking after them, they already have that. They have that network already ready for you. So I would say an agent is always beneficial over a distributor, especially when it's fashion. If it's gift orientated products, distributor works slightly better.
Muchísimas gracias, Melissa. Estamos yendo súper rápido de tiempo porque nos faltó la primera mesa redonda. Entonces voy a buscar un segundito a Carmen y continuamos.